Hello, Tony. Do you want to explain them what journals we're going to be using? Okay, yes. Yeah, you do, don't you? Oh, you like this, don't you? Hello everyone, my name is Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a Techo Kaigi for 2026. We're going to talk about all the different notebooks that I'm going to be using next year, and I'll explain with each journal what I'm thinking, what I'm keeping from this year, what has worked, all those kind of things. So I'm sure you can see in this mind map there are different colors. The things in maroon are kind of like what I consider my main journaling and planning lineup. Then the things in blue are the things that I know they are going to be part of my lineup, but maybe I use them less frequently, or they are specific topics, something like that. And then I have a few things here in this mustard color, I guess, which are some journals that I'm interested in trying. Some of them I am definitely gonna try, others are maybe just an idea. So yeah, basically just things that I'm curious about and I want to see if they work or they don't for me. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, it's my everyday carry. If you've watched my last video, I talk about this and there isn't really any change. But just to recap, what I have in here, it's basically some pictures of my family. Then I have some monthlies that I draw myself. That is going to change for next year. I got myself one of these undated inserts from the Travelers Company. Why did I not buy a 2026 insert? I don't know. I think because when I was placing the order with a few other things, and I think they probably didn't have it, so I ended up going for this one. So maybe I'll move in here from December. I don't know. We'll see. So it's basically going to be the same, just a different insert. And then the second thing that I have here, it's basically a capture notebook, pocket notebook that I carry around with me. Here I call it Captain's Log. This is inspired from Elanim and from, I think it was Lauren Nicole Journal. But if not, I'll put the name on the screen and in the description box so you can have a look at that. But basically it has two main purposes. One is if there is anything when I'm out and about that I want to write down, it can go in here. But also I get distracted very frequently while I'm working, and I've noticed that this idea of interstitial journaling, which basically is you journal in between tasks of what you've achieved, what you've done, things like that. So you put a timestamp and you can say whatever, I've completed this, or it can just be something that was in your mind, something that was trying to distract you. So I kind of see this as a mix between the rapid log of bullet journaling, where you just write down whatever, and the interstitial journaling kind of thing, but also just a capture notebook. I've just thrown a bunch of fancy words, but basically it just means write down whatever comes to mind. If I'm in the middle of a task, if something pops in my mind that is distracting me or kind of making me feel the urge to go and do something else, instead of going and doing it, I write it down. Doesn't always work, but I'm trying. So this is the first thing that is going to be in my lineup. It's not really going to change. I love this little notebook, and especially because it was a present from my family, so it has extra meaning. And the charms are also this is, I've mentioned in my past video, but this is a peseta, so it's the old coins from Spain. And this was from some rings that my brother got me once, so I just put it there. Next, we're gonna talk about my North Star, but I think I'm gonna move this to the side so it's not so distracting. And yeah, so this is a Hobonichi Wix. I'm gonna be using it as my North Star, which I stole that that name from Erin Ware. I'm sure you're familiar with her, but if you're not, I'll definitely link her in the description. She's an artist. She's here on YouTube. She's on Patreon. You can get her printables. So basically, I like the name of the North Star of one of her journals, because it really represents kind of what this notebook represents for me. It's kind of the thing that helps me plan my life, plan my goals, plan personal projects, but also has a bit of memory keeping. So it's kind of like the thing for me that if everything else fails, I'll still try to have, if it's not Hobonichi weeks in the future, something similar to this. So I'll just show you what I have. I've not set this up yet, but I'll just be talking you through like the different sections of the notebook and how I'm gonna be using them. So in here, like the first kind of like calendar year at a glance, I'm just gonna be using as my period tracker. Here I'm just gonna put some stickers and some paper and whatnot and put like my word for the year, which I've not decided it yet, but you know, we're not even in December yet, so it's okay. Then in this other, like, I guess you also call it year at a glance, I've not decided what I want to use it for. I have some ideas here. So one of my goals for next year is trying to walk more. I work from home at the moment, so some days, if I don't force myself to, I might not even go outside the house. So I was thinking I could track my steps. Another idea could be tracking my mood or my energy. I've tried that this year, but didn't really work, or I do it for a bit and then I immediately forget. But another of my goals is basically taking care of my physical health and like moving more, but also like I would like to lose some weight. So perhaps like I could track like calories, I could track my weight, but I don't know. I don't know if I like that. So I'll probably start with the steps and then see how it goes. Then here, because it's for the month of December and I'm gonna be using the December pages for something that I'll explain, but I am gonna finish my current weeks. So what I thought is, because I think there are, yes, so 4 spaces. Basically, I think I counted that I could put like 4 pictures for each month. So it could be like kind of like 4 pictures for January and kind of like the main highlights or something like that. So I think I want to use it that way. Another idea was a vision board, but I never know how to approach those. I find it intimidating. So I think I'd just rather like print some pictures from the year. Then my calendars, I'm going to be using it in the same way I was using them at the beginning of the year, and in the same way I'm using this year my Hobonichi Kosen calendars, which let me just show you. But basically what I do is I write a title for each day. It's kind of like as a very simple way to like kind of like remind me about what the day was about, basically. So I will be having like the day titles, some decoration, and then kind of like my monthly priorities, and any kind of like milestones, important kind of like tasks from like some of my goals that I want to reach and whenever I want to reach them. Then because this notebook gives you like 3 months for the next year, and I don't really use them, I don't really need to plan for like 2027 in here. I want to try to use them as if you're familiar with the common planner from Sterling Inc., there is like a spread that it's for like goals breakdown. So I want to try to like create something similar and see if I like it. And then in the other 2 months, I basically want to use each of these for like one quarter. So quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and then have kind of like each column kind of like a bucket list or bingo card, I guess you could call it too, but each of them for like a month. So this would be, if this is quarter 1, January, February, March, and write down kind of like some of the things I want to do that month, some priorities for the quarter, some things that I'm looking forward to. That's kind of like how I'm planning to structure it. Now, when it comes to the daily pages, I guess the weekly pages, usually what I am planning to do is continue doing the same that I've been doing. And let me just grab the weeks that I'm using now. At the moment, the way I'm using my Hobonichi weeks is on the left side, I write kind of like my impression of the day, a recap of the day. I am going to continue doing that. And then on the right side, I have kind of like some of the habits or tasks, the it's mostly habits, to be honest, that I want to like do that week. Space to like some like meal ideas for the week, kind of like my main priorities for the week, the things that will make me feel like accomplished, or just things that I want to do for fun or to take care of myself, anything like that. This is not all about productivity. We're not about that. And the other thing I like to have here, it's kind of like a summary of my highlights and my struggles for the week. If there is something, maybe some realization or some lesson that I have for the week, I like to include it too. Or if it's just something that I want to work on for next week and that, it's been really in my mind, maybe I might put it too. But the main two things that I always try to have is kind of like the highlights and the things that I've struggled, that I want to work in, and that, I want to try to change maybe. Or just that I want to be more mindful of. So that's how I'm using it this year. And I'm going to continue doing that. But because I'm still going to be using this notebook in December, and this one, this Hobonichi Weeks for 2026 actually starts on the 1st of December of 2025. I'm going to be using those pages in a bit of a different way to do my yearly review. So I'm going to like have space to like describe the year, doing the exercise about the strategic life portfolio that I think it was Helena from, I can never remember if it's Tiny Tiger Studio or Tiny Tiger Co. But I'll link her in the description below, and I'll link the video that I'm talking about, so you can go and watch her video. And, kind of like celebrating the highlights, thinking about like what have I struggled, lessons, a brainstorm for goals, things like that. So yeah, this is something we can do together if you would like to. And then from the 1st of January, I'll just go back to the way that I normally use it. I've not decided yet what I'm going to be using the 365 section for. Probably from some habit that I want to keep a closer eye to. So that could be maybe like walks, or it could be something around my focus, something like that. But also it could be to like assign different colors to different moods and use it to like track my mood basically. Now my notes section, I'm going to be using them for a bunch of different things. The main one is going to be kind of like my quarterly and my monthly reviews. I can show in a different video how I do it, but it's quite simple and similar to how I do my weeklies with like highlights and struggles, but maybe I add a couple of extra things. That's it really. Then I need a tracker I'm doing a course on project management. So it's a tracker that I have in my Hobonichi Weeks this year that I really like, because whenever I complete a module, where is it? Here. So whenever I complete a module, I mark it, and I just want to transfer this into my Hobonichi Weeks for 2026. I'll be having a wish list, maybe something around like makeup project pans, basically not using up because I probably won't use them up, but like tracking usage and things like that. Then a spread about like book recommendations. Oh, and then my 100. Oh, okay, I have a couple of things here at the end. And then, like if I have any extra pages, it's going to be for lists and things like that. And then in my 100, something I did this year that I found quite useful was, well, I divided this into different things. I'm not calling it 100. I might even cover that, but it doesn't really bother me. But basically, I use this first column to write recipes, kind of like that are our go-to. Just so like when it comes to like decide, okay, what are we having? What are we going to eat this week? I can come here and just have a look, because sometimes I have a bit of like my mind goes blank. And even if it's things that we cook all the time, I'm like, oh, what do we do? So it's easy for me to come in here, and because then I can just, it's like picking from a menu. So I like that. Then I was thinking of having here like for books that I want to maybe not read all of them, but like either books recommendations or books that I'm curious and maybe I'm gonna try to read a bit, and then if I like it, continue reading it. But I don't want to commit to read all those books because I don't read that much. Then I had a part that it could be for like dates with my partner, ideas, dates with myself, some walks that I'm curious to, maybe like walks in like nature, like hikes, things like that, and then things that I would like to try someday. So for example, I had from last year that I wanted to do like a dance class, and I've not done it yet, so I want to add it for next year and things like that. And then this last section, which I didn't have last year either, but I believe it's like food, people that you've met, kind of like fun moments, and like a free one. In the recipes, I thought I could have like 12 new recipes to cook during the year. I'm not sure how I'm gonna be using these other ones. Maybe this one will be for like the dates that my partner and I have actually made. Maybe this could be the books that I actually managed to read, and this could be the people that I hang out with and I enjoy, or maybe kind of like friends dates or something like that. Just an idea that came to my mind right now, but I've not decided fully. Now, the next thing I want to have, it's a memory album. It's basically just kind of like a memory keeper, and it's what I'm doing this year in my weekly part of the Hobonichi cousin. I think for me this is just a way to like have a weekly recap that it's a bit more visual, with like maybe more pictures or stickers or like big titles, and I find that this really helps me remember what happened, and I really enjoy it. But also like it could be something like maybe it's not just a weekly recap, because I don't have like dates at the top. I've not shown you what I'm gonna be using, sorry. But it's just, it can be for special moments. So what I'm planning to use is this. So this beautiful notebook from Hobonichi. It's horizontal, and I thought it would be super fun to do that, but also like a bit less space if I don't have a lot that has happened that week. But also because I don't have dates, I can just skip it. It's fine. The only thing, and I need to try it because I hope this doesn't bother me, but I would like to try to print pictures in maybe more like photo paper or something like that. And because the Tomo River paper, it's so thin, I don't know if I'm gonna like the thicker paper in here. If it bothers me, I can use this for something else, which I'll talk about in a second. And then I could use this notebook that I have, like just an A5 MD notebook that has thicker paper for that. I have to see. I just need to try it out and see if it bothers me. Then basically I will be using this as a long form journal, which I'll explain what I'm going to be using now. But yeah. I'm hoping I enjoy it because I think it would be super cute, but I would also be very happy if I end up using this as my main long form journal. And that's kind of like the next thing that we're going to be talking about. It's I guess we can call it musings and interests. It's basically where I just like, if I need to write whatever it's in my mind, at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, whenever, if I'm hyper fixating on anything, if I'm interested in anything and I want to talk about it, if I'm reflecting on my day, on my life, whatever, all that stuff goes in there. It's what I'm doing now in my daily pages in the Hobonichi cousin. Now, the problem is that like, because it's dated, I end up having like empty pages. I have to ignore the dates. I don't mind, but it's not ideal. So what I've planned for this is that I want to use up notebooks that I have already, but I've not used for anything. So let me just tidy up this a little bit. Okay, so I basically want to use at least these 3 notebooks. as you can see, they're obviously like inserts or thinner notebooks, so it's not like they're gonna last me the whole year. I think I'm probably gonna be starting with this lightweight TN insert. I'm very curious to try the TN like standard size. I tried it for like, I don't know, I think a couple of days or something, just to see how I felt. I think I'm more of like an A5 person, but I want to give it a go and see if it's something that I would enjoy. And since I have the insert, that's perfect. We're gonna give it used to this. Then I have my Hobonichi A6 from 2025. You can go and watch my previous video for a bit more of an explanation, but this used to be my journal of joy. It didn't really work for me, so I removed the pages that I had used in July for my journal of joy, and then I'm just going to be using this as my long form journal. Probably, I mean, I'm assuming this might last me like a couple of months, maybe 3, depending how much I write. It doesn't have all the pages already because I used some for other stuff, so I removed those. I think it comes with 120 pages, but I think I have 80 or 90 left, something like that. So I think like once I'm done with this one, I'll move into this one, and once I'm done with that one, hopefully it will be around June. If not, I might get an extra insert or something. And then I want this one to be my notebook for the summer. It has this beautiful like green paper and this like pinkish red grid that, it just screams summer to me. So I thought it would be, I don't know, really cute to have like a notebook that is for my summer. So hopefully these two will last me until around June. But then if not, I can, get some extra thin one. Once I'm done with these, I have 2 options, which are basically like either of these 2 notebooks. If this is working well as my memory keeper, like I've explained before, then I will move into this one. If this hasn't been working well as my memory keeper, then I'll move into here. I might even decide to combine my memory keeper and my long form journaling. I don't think I'm going to be buying anything like any other notebooks. Like I've said, maybe I might buy like an insert if these 2 don't last me until like around June. But that's the only thing I might do. So what do we have next? We have covered my North Star, memory album, everyday carry, my main long form journal, and then the last thing that I have in maroon. This is definitely more of like a planning thing, but I want to have a wall calendar because I have noticed that I really need to have things like in a place where I can see them. Otherwise, it's very easy for me to forget, even if they're just inside a notebook, because it's closed. I might forget about it. So if it's a wall calendar, it's easier for me. So as a recap of my main lineup, it's going to be my everyday carry, my North Star, my long form journal, and some sort of memory keeper. And I guess in terms of like use, these 2 would be kind of like daily use. This one would be dailish, so it's like, I might try to write some long form journal every day, but I don't really do it every day. And then these are more like weekly and like when there is some special occasion, so like weekly, I guess, as well. So that's kind of like the main things. Now we're gonna get into like the more like specific journals that I don't use as often, or I use them as needed. I guess that's the best way to put it. So the first thing that I have, it's these 2 notebooks. These are for processing emotions, and they are kind of like 2 different states. The first one is the one that I put some like the Gremlins here. I basically decided to call it Gremlin Journal, but I was also tempted to call it Angry Letters. I still like both. And then I put this sticker that says cute and angry because I thought it was funny. I think you can guess the theme, but basically this is my journal from when I'm feeling very angry. I just need to scream, but I obviously don't want to do it out loud, so I just come and do it into the page and calm down. So that's what this is for. It's not, it's a Muji notebook. I didn't want anything fancy because I don't even know if I'm going to keep this. I don't know. I might keep it, but I might just recycle it when I'm done with it. I've not decided it yet. And the second one, it's this MD Notebook A6. So lovely. But it's basically what I'm calling my healing journal. It's just for things that I find, it's more of like mental health stuff that is like really private, maybe things that I find triggering and things like that. To be honest, I've had this idea for a while and I've had this notebook for a while and have not been using it, which I guess is a good sign, but I have fell down some days and I've just not reached for it. If it gets to the point that, like, I don't know, a bunch of months have passed and I've not used it, I might rebrand it for something else. Maybe it's another long form journal. Next, I have a couple of journals that I want to use for like specific things. So first is this beautiful Love and Trip insert that came with my TN passport cover, and I want to use this for a trip with my sister or my siblings. We've been talking about like doing one next year, and I think it would be super cute to have that collected in here with all the memories and pictures and all that stuff. And then the next one is, I really love like walking in nature, not like strenuous hikes or anything like that, but just like, yeah, going to the mountains, you know, that kind of thing. So I had the idea of having kind of like, I don't like to call it hiking because it sounds like it's really intense, but yeah, hiking journal or walks in nature journal. And the plan wouldn't be so much for like the walks we do, although I think maybe I would like to include that in here too, but also like kind of like researching routes and being like, okay, this is print them up, put some pictures, what caught my attention from that, and it could be as in my personalized like routes, like guide of like walks in near where we're based. So yeah, I think it's a nice idea. I don't know how much I'm gonna use it, or if it's gonna work for me, but we will see. Now, something I have considered is, kind of like I want to try the journal for like walks in nature. I was thinking if I would like to have another insert for kind of like a journal about journaling. So a journaling journal, because it's something that I think a lot about. I'm happy to have that in my main long form journal, but I think, yeah, it could be good to have it separate as well. I've even considered having like a TN cover with like different like standard size inserts for like different interests. I think that could work really well, but also like I don't know how much I would be using those different inserts, so I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna do that for now, but if it's something that I'm still interested in, I might try it. We will see. Then next, to be honest, I almost don't consider this part of like journaling. I don't know, I say it more related with like learning and things like that, but I just have basically these things that it's my Marxist notes commonplace, so I guess that's more in the in the journaling kind of like theme. I've not used it this year, and I started at quotations this year, but yeah, I don't know if I continue to not really use it again, I might use it for something else. We will see. Then this is just a Stalogy notebook that I'm using for like a couple of courses that I was doing. I just write down like very messy notes in here. So what I've noticed is that I would like to have somewhere where I can organize my notes in like a tidier way, because this is helpful while I'm watching one of the videos or reading an article from the course or anything like that. But then to like come back and look at the information, it's not the most helpful. I got this at Asda, super cheap. I don't know if it was like £2 or something. That was an idea, but then I thought also like some sort of like rings binder could be good to kind of like have more the stuff that it's organized. So I might look into that. But again, like I feel like I don't really consider this journaling. It's more stuff that I'm using for a course. But I'm just telling you all about my notebooks today. This is just to take notes and just to be messy, and probably using it as kind of like a thinking pad. So if I need to do some sort of like mind map or something, I might use this. But sometimes when I want to do a mind map, to be honest, I want even more space, like an A4. So I might just use like random pages that we have laying around for that. Something I have thought about, but I don't think I'm going to do next year, it's having some sort of like, I don't know how to call it, but like life encyclopedia or commonplace, I don't know. But basically a place where I just write anything that I learn that can help me in life. So whether it's something I've realized, to maybe things around like goals, not so much like goal setting for myself, but like methods and like exercises that you can use, or for habits or mental health or things like that. I don't know, it's kind of like a big interest, and like maybe it's something I might do at some point, but I'm not gonna do it next year, I don't think. And then the last thing is I would like to start a 5-year journal, but I want to start that on my birthday, which is in July, so July 2026. Now my fear is that, like, because it's kind of like similar to here, just a few lines for the day, that they might be redundant. The way I was thinking, so it would be a bit different, would be to like write it as if it was like messages or letters to myself. So kind of like, dear Sarah, da 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 da. I don't know. I'll have to see if it works, but I guess maybe I can try before I commit to buying one to do it in like a separate notebook and see if I like to do it, or if I'm like, no, just this is enough. And then if I really want to start a 5-year journal, I could start it 2027 or something. So I can, as kind of like a summary of this second part would be my 2 journals for processing emotions, my little journal for a trip, one for a particular interest of mine, and then these, I don't really consider them part of my journaling ecosystem. I see them more as like learning hub type of thing. So I don't really think I'll be talking much about this in future videos. So I guess we could say it's these 3 plus obviously the other 4 that I had mentioned before, and I'm saying 4 because I know there are different notebooks, but it's really the same. I'm going to be using one, and once it's done, I'll bring another one. That was a lot. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Also, please let me know, what are you going to be using next year? I'm always super curious to know what others are doing with their journals. Even if you're not sure yet, just let me know. And also, I have a few ideas for what we could do in a next video. I could either set my Hobonichi weeks with you, or maybe we could do the yearly review together. So let me know if you have a preference between those 2. I'm happy to do either. We could also do both in a video, but maybe it's a bit too much, I don't know. So yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for watching.